Hello and welcome to this video where we'll work with Snowflake and we'll work with SQL worksheets in Visual Studio Code and through SnowSQL so that it's executed in Snowflake, but you see the results in Visual Studio Code. So we will go into some basic SQL so that you get the repetition of SQL and also so that you see the Snowflake SQL. So we'll also go into the marketplace later on to get some data and query it. But we'll start with some basic SQL and creating database and schemas, etc. Schemas, tables. So moving on to Visual Studio Code. Here I am in Visual Studio Code. I go into this, what is Snowflake? This is the lecture that we're in today. So create a new SQL script. Call it database underscore schema.sql. So first of all, I do Shift Command P so that I can change the language. I change the language to Snowflake. So now I have Snowflake SQL. So let's start with show databases to see what we have. So Command Enter to execute the command. Let's move this a little bit so I can see my keyboard. So here we see a lot of databases already, but you might not have so many. However, let's create a new database. So create database, and I will use this if not exists. If not exists, I'll call it demo_db. Demo_db. Run this one. So successfully created. And you might also notice that okay, I have used the account admin, the role. For doing this, and now you see here also that the active database which we just created is the demo_db. So we created it so it will be the active database. However, if it's not your active database or you want to change database, then you use the command use database, and then you can choose demo_db. However, this was already demo_db, so it gives no difference here. So now we have the database, and let's create. We can we can actually show the schemas. Show schemas in. We can actually show the schemas. We don't need to say in demo_db because we are already inside of demo_db when we're using it. So show schemas, you see it here. We have information schema and we have the public schema. So I can create a new schema. So create schema. Create schema if not exist. I will call it, so I'll use the whole name now. So demo_db.staging. So I create this schema. I use the database name and I use the schema name here. If not exist. So this makes so if it exists, it won't recreate a schema. So for example, if I run this again, I click on execute again. You see that staging already exists. Statement succeeded. So it says create schema if not exists. So if it doesn't exist, it will create a schema. Otherwise, it won't. It will do nothing. I will show schemas again. And here I will show it. I will use it in using the other syntax. So show schemas in demo_db and run this one. And here we can see the staging schema which we just created. So let's create a table now. And the reason why I use the name staging, we'll come back to it later on when we start talking about different layers in a data warehouse. So now we have this schema that is named staging. So we can use, we can also see here that this is the active schema. So I can actually choose which active schema I want. I can change the active schema using code with use schema. So now let's create a table. So create table if not exists. And what do I want to create? Well, I want to create the customer table. And this is similar to other SQL dialects. So we have customer ID, integer. It should be the primary key. Primary key. Like this. Age, it's an integer. And we have email. This is, I put it as a varchar. Actually, you could use string. When we use varchar 50, we restrict it to 50 characters. However, this gives another layer of validation, basically, because it will error out whenever when the email is longer than 50 characters. However, if you think about the storage, Snowflake will only use the storage that is required for storing the string. So you could actually use a string instead, and it will give you a very large varchar, so a lot of characters which you can use. Okay, let's do this now. So we create this one and run this. So we have this table successfully created. I can do show tables. So actually I can say, if I can use the whole name, I can use show tables in demodb.staging, and it will show which tables are here. So I have a customer table now. So I can select from the table. So select star from customer, and of course it produces no results. That is because we haven't added any data yet. And in order to add some data, we could do insert. So insert into customer. What do I want to insert into? Well, I use the customer ID, age, email. These are the columns. And what I want to insert, I want to insert different values. And the values I want to insert, for example, here. These are just 1, 32, abc at gmail.com, for example, comma. I'll copy this one, and in order to copy it, I use the Shift Alt down button so that it becomes so it's a quicker way of copying. Okay, let's be the CDC. Gmail, we can have 23, for example. Okay, and I will end this one with a semicolon. And also you don't need to, I have a lot of squiggy lines here, red squiggy lines, and that's because I use something called SQL fluff in order to make my, it's a linter to make my SQL look in a certain format. So it will give some errors when it doesn't look that way. But since I have it, I can use Shift Alt F, and it will help me auto format it. I won't go through how to set it up, but you can look it up yourself, how to set up SQL Fluff. And it's actually quite good when you're in a team and want to have streamlined so that you have the same formatting, so that when you have, for example, pull requests and you merge code together, you don't want the formatting to clutter down the code, and instead it should be the actual changes that should be the focus. So some kind of linter within a team is to recommend. Okay, so I have inserted these values. You see number of rows inserted 2. So now I can select star from customer, like this, run, and you see that yes, I have this. Oh, actually customer ID 1. Yeah, customer ID 2. Let's do this. Oh, right, then it gives me additional 2 rows. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so okay, so we will do one more thing before dropping this one. We'll go into the browser. So let me change to the browser, like here. So I want to show you how it looks like in the browser, since we have so the worksheet that we worked with before, the SQL script, it's only locally, and we can add it to, we can source control it using Git and GitHub. So we could push up the code into GitHub, right? However, this is not the same. This Snowflake doesn't get this even if we use NoSQL. So if we have, for example, projects, we have a lot of worksheets, right? But we don't have that worksheet that we just created. Let me see what it was called. It was called database_schema.sql. It doesn't exist here. So that is one thing to note. And the other thing I want to show is going into the data. We see that the DemoDB, it has been created. So we have created it using SQL, using Snowflake SQL in our local repository. And that is why we can do it. It's because we had the connection using SnowSQL. So we have DemoDB, and we have these 3 schemas, which we showed before. So we have the staging, which we created. So in the staging, we have tables and we have the customer, right? And I added 4 rows, I think. So if we see the columns, we have these 3 columns: age, customer ID, and email. And the data preview, we had, yeah, these were the 4 rows that I inserted into this table, right? So let me go back to Visual Studio Code. And now I want to drop this database. So drop database DemoDB. So if I run this one, we see that it's successfully dropped. So I just do some cleanup here. Show databases. Oh, right. I accidentally changed to... oh, right. I accidentally changed to another file. Sorry for that. I run this one. And here you see that I don't have the DemoDB. And also if I go into Snowflake, so I'll go back to Snowflake here, we see that the DemoDB, it's still here, but I need to update this. Refresh. And we see that it's still here. I refresh this one. Oh, data not found. But I think I dropped the database, right? Didn't I drop the database? Let me see if I run this again. Yeah, DemoDB is not here. maybe I need to, I go back here. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, so I refreshed and I went through different tabs and the snow site updated itself. Okay. So now when we're in snow site, I'll show you the marketplace. So in data products, we go there and we have a marketplace for Snowflake. And here we will search for certain data that we want to work with. So for example, I'm interested in this one, Crunch basic company data. You can actually, I found this through looking through different tabs and finding data that I found was interesting. So I found this database, Crunchbase basic company data. We see that it's free. If we go in here, we have the description, so you can read about it, and it should probably say get for you if you haven't downloaded this database before. Since I've done it before, it's open here. So into the data dictionary, we see that here are the columns and here are the data types. And then we have usage examples of how you can use this database. So when you click on get, you will get the data and it will come into your into the database here. So we have this Crunchbase basic company data. And yeah, you can go into this and look into, here are the metadata, and for the public, you can see what are inside. For example, here are views, and we can see this view here. And you can see the columns, which columns they have, and some data preview. So Snowsite is quite good for exploring the data set like this. And also you can use it with worksheets. However, I will go back to Visual Studio Code and work with SQL scripts. So let's go back to Visual Studio Code. So now I'll create a new, let's see, I'll create a new, here. I'll create this called marketplace data.sql. And with this, I will use this lecture as a repetition of SQL, and also so that you get familiar with both, so that you refamiliarize yourself with SQL, basic SQL, and SQL in Snowflake. So the dialect is somewhat different from other dialects. Okay, similarly here, for me, I have to do this. Maybe you don't have to. Snowflake SQL. So close this down and close this down. Okay, then I will start with using this database. Use database Crunchbase basic data. Like this. Show schemas. So this is, as you saw what we did in Snowsite, we can, using these commands, we can see similar stuffs. So we can see here, okay, information schema and public. Nice. Okay, then I will use the public. Use schema public. Like this. We can see show tables. See what tables there are. Okay, no results. Oh, as we saw in Snowsite, there was no tables, but there were views, right? So show views. Views are virtual tables. We'll come back to it later. So we see organization summary. Okay, great. So let's do some select here. Select. We can start with function account star. Or we can actually start with select from organization summary, like this, and I will limit my limit it to 10. I don't want to query all the data. Okay, we can see here we have 10 rows of, so we get a preview of how the data looks like. We can describe it. Describe view organization summary. And here we get the names, the column name, and the data types. You see there a lot of them are these are for the string, so it's very large varchar. So let's do some things to explore this data. So count star as number rows from organization summary. So we get the number of rows. Yeah, is it 3 million, 3.5 million. We can do select distinct type from, because when I looked at the describe before, we see a lot of different and column names. So I'll just look into different ones. And also when I did this one this first one here, we see like the type is the organization, and I want to see if there are different types. So it's a kind of exploratory data analysis I'm doing now. So select distinct type from organization summary. Run this one, and we see, okay, there was only organization. Interesting. Select count distinct, and we had name. We want to see how many distinct names are there as number unique names. So I give it an alias so that the column name becomes number unique names from, let's see, from organization summary, like this. Run this one. Okay, there was quite many, but we see it's not as many as the total number of rows. So we have 3.3 million here. Before we had 3.5 millions. Okay, interesting. We can dive deeper into that if we want. We can check unique countries. So select count distinct country codes. Country code from organization summary. And we see, okay, we have 226 organization country codes. So they're unique countries, right? So let's select country code, comma, count star. Okay, so select country code. Or actually, we can do it like this. We can, before we choose what we want to select, I want to show how I do when I create my queries. So usually I start with from. So select from organization summary. And here I want to do a group by. So I do my group by first. Group by, what do I want to group by on? Well, I want to group by on country code. Country code. Order by number organizations. Descending. Okay, so first of all, we don't have we don't have a number of organizations. So I will create that one, but I want to show the country code first. Country code, comma, count star as number of organizations. So here you can see that we have we select the country code and we select the count star. So each of the elements inside of this that are grouped by with this country code. So we group by, so we get a lot for each. We get some data rows for each country code, and then we do the count star of it. So we count the number of rows, and we alias it as number of organizations. And then we order by this number of organizations, and we order by descending. So if I run this one, we can see that, the country code here, we have USA, most number of organizations, Great Britain, second, and then the third one is null, and India, and so on. And that was interesting. So now we start to understand, okay, which countries have the most organizations. Okay, so how about, because I live in Sweden, I'm interested in the Nordic countries, so I've looked up the different country codes in beforehand. So I'll copy this one. So we have select country code, count star as number of organizations from organization summary, group by country code, and we order by the number of organizations descending. However, when you are doing a select query, you may be used to using where statement in order to filter your data. And when you're doing group by, you have the having statement in order to filter the data. So we have having country code in. So in what? In this country codes. So this I've looked up in beforehand in other page. So DNK for Denmark. We have Nor for Norway, and we have Fin for Finland, and we have ISL for Iceland. And I run this one. Oh yeah, great. Sweden was in top. We have the most number of organizations. It's important to beat the neighbors. So how about we can dive in even further and get more details. So I will copy this again. Oh, sorry, like this. We have country code. We have similar here, and what we want to add also is the region. And the region we get through doing group by with country code and region. So we group by two different columns, right? We group by two different columns, so we get data that is per region. So we get the number of organizations in a region. And we take the, so we see here that, okay, so Stockholm has the most number of organization. Then we have Denmark, Huvudstaden, and we have Finland, and then we have Sweden again, Västra Götaland. So I'm from this place, so we're number 4. Here we went through a little bit of repetition of SQL. So I'll just commit this, SQL repetition.